Now, let's talk about Ron Paul seriously, because there's also there's many false narratives with Ron Paul. And again, there are good things about Ron Paul, but there are a lot of concerning things. And he's not a guy I would vote for, and I've made that clear. And people get angry just when I say I'm not going to be voting for Ron Paul. I also don't think Ron Paul is going to be the Republican nominee. But one of the narratives is he's not involved at all with the kind of pro-life, anti-abortion movement. He's not this religious guy. If that's true, then the ad I'm about to play for you is a farce, and it's simply political posturing, and that would be just as bad. Here's the recent Ron Paul ad.
Dr. Ron Paul, more than 4,000 babies delivered, a man of faith, committed to protecting life.
Some people need to have a good word said about them. Ron is the sort of person that his life is his good word.
You know, you just knew that Ron cared about you. Life begins at conception, in my opinion, and as a result, I love to go to a doctor who felt the same way.
He not only protects unborn life, but he also walks through journeys with women, and he has for years.
I love the fact that he hadn't changed in all these years. Ron's still the same guy, still saying the same things, and now all these years later, still standing his ground.
Ron did not let Washington change him.
It's not hard for someone who is a Christian and who truly believes to stay on the right path. And I think that's what kind of person Ron Paul is.
America has to have someone like Ron Paul today. There is no question.
Right. Nope.
Does it say I'm Ron Paul and I approve this message at the end?
Oh, I think it does. Let me go back to it. I'm sorry, because we do need to hear. That's a kind of a key phrase,
right?
Because did he approve it? Let's take a look. Here it is, Lewis.
Path, and I think that's what kind of person Ron Paul is.
America has to have someone like Ron Paul today. There is no question.
It just says in text, authorized by Ron Paul.
Right, it does. So this I think, yeah, go ahead, Natan.
Yeah, I was just going to say, notice how one of the women interviewed is named Kara Gore.
Yeah,
and that's like very carefully selected, even though she probably has nothing to do with Al Gore or anyone in his family.
Same thing crossed my mind.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there's two ways we can look at this ad. Way number one is it's simply not true that Ron Paul is not yet another kind of Christian, pro-life, life begins at conception, that's a big deal, social issue type of guy. Maybe that's not true. That's one way of looking at the ad. I don't actually think that's the case. I believe it when people say that that's not really who Ron Paul is, or at least let's say I believe it. Okay, well then he's
right,
decided...
because it's never been a big issue for him. It's
at least running for president.
Right.
So then he's decided that it makes political sense to put out an ad like this to convince people, to trick people that that actually is who he is based on these patient testimonials. And that's bad. That's just as bad as the concern I have with the Ron Paul newsletters, which maybe he is no racist beliefs himself. Maybe, I don't know. But he decided it's good strategy to have racist stuff in a newsletter.
Right.
And that would be just as bad. So that's my concern with Ron Paul. I don't need to go any further with it, Louis.
Right. To come out of nowhere with an ad like this, that is, you look at it and you would never assume it was a Ron Paul ad if Ron Paul weren't starring in it.
Absolutely.
Clearly just political posturing. Clearly he wants to try and win over the people that
are looking for that type
Rick
of...
Perry, Mitt Romney, and Bachman have been, pandering to.
Absolutely right.
Pretty bad.